Hello and welcome to Beautiful Places documentary. When you visit Sigiriya, one of the most popular travel destinations in Sri Lanka, don't forget to explore these valuable historical and archaeological sites as well. Sri Lanka's history is not limited to one monument. Beyond Sigiriya, there are ancient cities, sacred sites, irrigation engineering systems, and archaeological locations that tell the full story of this island civilization. Also, if you are interested in Sigiriya, please visit my YouTube channel and watch the Sigiriya documentary video I created earlier. Now, let's begin our journey into one of the greatest ancient heritage landscapes in Asia. This episode is designed for travelers who want to understand what they are seeing, not just take photos. We will focus on two connected topics: ancient irrigation technology, the reservoirs, canals, sluices, and control systems that turned a dry zone into productive farmland; archaeological and Buddhist heritage sites, the sacred monuments and ancient city layout that made Anuradhapura a long-lasting cultural capital. Anuradhapura is not a single place. It is a large heritage landscape. Stupas, monasteries, stone ruins, tanks and canals spread across a wide area, best explored over 1 or 2 full days. In the next hour, we will visit the main sites, explain the engineering behind the water system, and show how this infrastructure supported a civilization for centuries. Before we begin, here is where Anuradhapura is located, how the sacred city is organized, and what kind of travel experience you can expect.
To understand Anuradhapura, we must go back more than 2,500 years. Long before modern machinery, ancient Sri Lankans had already developed advanced skills in planning, construction, and environmental management. They understood how to choose locations, how to work with stone and brick, and how to organize large groups of people for long-term projects. Anuradhapura was not built randomly. The city was carefully planned with religious zones, residential areas, roads, water bodies, and agricultural land working together as one system. This level of planning tells us something important. The people who lived here were not only builders, but also engineers, administrators, and environmental thinkers. For travelers today, this means Anuradhapura is not just a collection of ruins. It is the remains of a functioning ancient city designed to support life, faith, and stability over centuries.
Anuradhapura is located in Sri Lanka's dry zone. This region does not receive rainfall evenly throughout the year. There are wet months, but also long dry periods where water becomes scarce. For an ancient city to survive here, the biggest challenge was not building temples. The biggest challenge was water security. Without stored water, farming would fail. Without farming, the population could not grow. And without a stable food supply, large cities, monasteries, and royal projects could not continue for centuries. So the ancient rulers and engineers developed a clear solution: capture rainwater during the wet season, store it safely in reservoirs, and distribute it through canals when the dry season begins. This is why Anuradhapura is not only an archaeological city. It is also one of the greatest examples of early water management and irrigation planning in Asia. For travelers, understanding this dry zone reality changes everything. When you see a tank, a canal, or a bund, you are looking at the real foundation of this civilization.
The most visible part of ancient irrigation in Anuradhapura is the reservoir system, locally known as the wewa. A wewa is not a natural lake. It is a man-made tank built to collect rainwater and surface runoff during the wet season, and store it for controlled use during dry months. Each tank includes key engineering elements: an embankment, also called the bund, controlled outlets such as sluices, and overflow paths to protect the structure during heavy rain. But the real intelligence of the system is not only in one tank. It is in how tanks were connected to each other. In many dry zone areas, reservoirs were built as a cascade network. This means one tank feeds another. When the upper tank fills up, overflow water moves into the next tank, and then to the next. This design had major benefits. It reduced water wastage, slowed down floods during heavy rain, supported groundwater recharge, and provided water to multiple farming villages across a wide region. For travelers, this explains why you see so many tanks around Anuradhapura. They are not separate attractions. They are part of one connected ancient system that kept the city alive.
A reservoir is only useful if the stored water can be released safely and efficiently. That is why ancient Sri Lankan engineers developed the sluice system, locally known as the Sorowwa. The Sorowwa is the controlled outlet that releases water from the tank into canals and irrigation channels. This allowed farmers to receive water at the right time, in the right amount, without damaging the tank embankment. The main engineering challenge here is water pressure. Water stored at depth creates strong pressure. If water exits too fast or without control, it can erode soil, weaken the bund, and even damage the outlet structure. To prevent this, the Sorowwa system was built with careful design. Stable stone or brick-lined outlet paths, controlled openings, and water flow direction that reduces sudden force. This technology shows that ancient Sri Lankans did not simply store water. They understood how to manage water energy and protect large structures over long periods. For travelers, the Sorowwa is one of the most important details to notice near a tank. It is small compared to the size of the reservoir, but it is the key mechanism that makes the entire irrigation system work. When ancient reservoirs became larger and deeper, the water pressure inside them became much stronger. A simple outlet was not enough. Engineers needed a way to release water without damaging the sluice, the embankment, or the canal system. This is where the Bisokotuwa becomes important. The Bisokotuwa is often described as a control chamber or valve pit built near the sluice outlet of major tanks. In simple terms, it works like a pressure management space. Instead of letting high-pressure water rush directly out of the reservoir, water enters the Bisokotuwa chamber first. Inside this chamber, the force of water can be reduced and stabilized before it continues into the outlet canal. This helps to reduce sudden pressure damage, prevent erosion near the outlet, protect the tank bund, and maintain a smoother, more controlled flow for irrigation. For travelers, Bisokotuwa is one of the most impressive examples of how advanced ancient Sri Lankan engineering was. It shows that the builders were not only thinking about storing water, but also about safety, long-term durability, and controlled distribution.
After building reservoirs and controlling water release, the next challenge was distribution. Water had to travel far from large tanks to smaller tanks, villages, and farmlands. One of the most famous examples of this ancient canal engineering is Yoda Ela, also known as Jaya Ganga. This canal carried water from Kalawea to Tisawea, supporting the Anuradhapura region. What makes it impressive is the precision of its slope. The canal was designed with a very gentle gradient, allowing water to flow steadily over a long distance using gravity alone. If the canal slope is too steep, water will flow too fast and damage the canal banks. If it is too flat, water will stop flowing. So this system required accurate terrain reading, careful leveling, and long-term maintenance. For travelers, Yoda Ela is a reminder that ancient Sri Lanka did not rely only on large monuments. It also relied on invisible engineering quiet structures that made daily life possible.
To truly understand ancient irrigation in Anuradhapura, travelers should not only visit the stupas. You should also visit the major reservoirs that supported the city. These tanks are not just scenic lakes. They are engineered structures that represent centuries of planning and maintenance. Let's look at 3 important tanks near the sacred city. First is Bisokotuwa, also known as Abhayagiri. This is one of the earliest historically significant tanks connected with the Anuradhapura region. It helped stabilize early settlement life by storing seasonal water and supporting agriculture nearby. Second is Ruwanwelisaya, a large reservoir that still serves the area today. Its size shows the scale of ancient water storage projects. Large tanks like this required strong embankments, safe overflow control, and reliable outlet systems. Third is Tisawea, one of the most visually famous tanks for visitors because it connects directly with the sacred zone. Many travelers see the reflection of major stupas on the water surface, especially during sunrise and sunset. For a visitor, these tanks are the best places to understand how water shaped the city. You can walk along the bunds, observe the landscape, and imagine how agriculture and urban life depended on these reservoirs.
Now, we enter the sacred heart of Anuradhapura. For many travelers, the most meaningful place here is the Sri Maha Bodhi, living symbol of Sri Lanka's Buddhist heritage and one of the most important pilgrimage sites in the country. This is not just an archaeological location. It is an active sacred site visited daily by worshippers, monks, and families. The area, Around the Sri Maha Bodhi is organized with clear boundaries, walking paths, and ritual spaces. This shows how spiritual life shaped the city layout and how sacred areas were protected for generations.
If you are visiting as a traveler, the experience is peaceful and deeply cultural, but it also requires respect. Dress modestly, remove footwear where required, avoid loud behavior, and do not film people closely without permission. Understanding this helps visitors appreciate that Anuradhapura is not only history, it is living heritage.
One of the most iconic landmarks in Anuradhapura is Ruwanwelisaya. For travelers, this is often the most photographed stupa in the sacred city. But beyond its beauty, Ruwanwelisaya represents something deeper. It proves that ancient Sri Lanka had the ability to complete large-scale construction projects with high organization and engineering skill. To build a stupa of this scale, the ancient builders needed massive quantities of bricks and construction material, skilled craftsmen and labor teams, transport systems to bring materials to the site, and a stable economy to support long-term work. This also connects directly to irrigation. Without reliable water storage and agriculture, the city could not feed thousands of workers and sustain major building projects. Ruwanwelisaya is also a symbol of Sri Lanka's ancient Buddhist identity. It shows how religious devotion and state power work together to create monuments that still define the country's cultural landscape. For visitors today, the best time to experience Ruwanwelisaya is early morning or evening. The light is softer, the atmosphere is calmer, and you can observe the movement of pilgrims around the stupa in a respectful way. After Ruwanwelisaya, many travelers think they have seen the biggest highlights of Anuradhapura. But the sacred city has more monuments that prove the scale of ancient Sri Lanka's engineering and organization. One of them is Jetavanaramaya. Jetavanaramaya is famous for its enormous size and its massive brick structure. A monument like this required advanced knowledge of brick production, weight distribution, foundation stability, and long-term maintenance. Standing near Jetavanaramaya, travelers can clearly understand how powerful and organized the ancient city must have been. Next, we explore the Abhayagiri complex. Abhayagiri was not just one stupa. It was a large monastic zone with extensive buildings, living quarters, learning spaces, and service areas. This shows that Anuradhapura functioned like a monastic city, where religious life was supported by economy, agriculture, and infrastructure. These sites also remind us of a key point. Large religious monuments were not built in isolation. They depended on stable water supply, food production, and strong administration made possible through irrigation systems. For visitors, Jetavanaramaya and Abhayagiri are perfect places to explore slowly, observe ruins closely, and feel the scale of the ancient world.
Now we travel a short distance from Anuradhapura to Mihintale, one of the most important sacred sites in Sri Lanka. Mihintale is widely known as a key location connected to the introduction of Buddhism to the island. For travelers, it offers a different experience from the flat sacred city. Here, the landscape is elevated, with stone stairways, viewpoints, and a strong sense of ancient pilgrimage movement. One of the most interesting archaeological areas in Mihintale is the ancient hospital complex. This site shows that healthcare and organized treatment existed within the religious environment. Visitors can observe features such as a planned courtyard layout, stone structures used for treatment spaces, and the famous medicinal trough, locally called the behith or wewa, believed to be used for herbal oil treatments. This location is important because it demonstrates that ancient Sri Lankan society invested not only in monuments, but also in practical systems that supported community life, such as medicine and care. For travelers, Mihintale is best visited early morning or late afternoon. The weather is cooler, the light is better for filming, and the climb becomes more comfortable.
If you are traveling to Sri Lanka for heritage and archaeology, Anuradhapura is the main destination. But Sri Lanka's story is much older and wider than the ancient capital. To understand the full depth of the island's past, travelers can also visit to remarkable sites. Pahiyangalain Bisokotuwa. First, Payangala, also known as Fa Hin Lina, is a prehistoric cave site. It is famous for evidence of very early human habitation in Sri Lanka. For visitors, this place offers a completely different type of experience-less monumental architecture, but a stronger connection to deep human history. The cave itself is massive, and the surrounding landscape feels untouched and natural. This makes it ideal for travelers who enjoy archaeology, nature, and quiet exploration. Next, we visit Bisokotuwa megalithic tombs near Dambulla. This site gives travelers a rare chance to see Sri Lanka's proto-historic period through ancient burial structures. Unlike temples and stupas, Bisokotuwa is about everyday people and their customs. How they buried their dead, what objects they used, and what kind of community life existed before the classical kingdoms. For heritage travelers, these sites add context. They show that Sri Lanka's achievements in engineering and civilization were built on a much longer human story.
As we end this journey, Anuradhapura teaches us one clear lesson. Sri Lanka's ancient achievements were not accidental. More than 2,500 years ago, people here understood how to build a civilization in a difficult environment. They developed irrigation systems to store and distribute water. They planned cities around sacred and practical needs. And they built monumental Buddhist architecture that still defines the island today. For travelers, this is what makes Sri Lanka's heritage unique. You are not only visiting ancient ruins, you are walking through a living landscape where history, religion, and engineering still exist together. If you are planning to visit Sri Lanka, the Cultural Triangle is one of the best travel experiences you can have. Give yourself at least one full day for Anuradhapura, and if possible, include Mihintale, Dambulla, and other archaeological sites to complete the story.
Before we end, here's what's coming up next on Beautiful Places Documentary. In our next episode, we travel to the eastern coast of Sri Lanka to explore Neela Beach, a place known for its white sand beaches, crystal clear waters, and calm tropical atmosphere. If you enjoyed this journey through Sri Lanka's ancient heritage, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our next travel documentary. See you at Neela Beach.